The first type of flares we will demonstrate are meteors and parachutes. They can be seen further than other flares. If you are 6 feet above the water, due to the curvature of the Earth, your visibility will be less than 3 miles in perfect weather to someone else at the same height on the water. However, a flare shot into the sky can be seen over the horizon from 12 to 41 miles away. One strategy to use in an emergency at sea when no one is visible is to launch at least one meteor flare so that it can be seen by a vessel that is below your horizon. When operating flares, wear gloves, glasses, or goggles, and closed-toed shoes if possible. The non-Solace Coast Guard 12-gauge flare gun is operated by making sure the hammer is in the down position, opening the barrel, inserting the red flare shell, then closing the barrel. Aim about 60 to 80 degrees from the horizon. Make sure you are not aiming at aircraft. Pull back the hammer, turn your face away, and pull the trigger. Do not aim directly at rescuers. The flare will rise about 100 feet, last about 5 seconds, and be seen up to 10 miles from your position. The non-Solace Coast Guard approved Pocket Meteor is another type of flare that has both a launching mechanism and a flare in the same unit, that has a similar range as the 12-gauge flare gun. To use it, extend the handle, unscrew the plastic cap on the bottom so the firing chain can fall out. Do not grab too close to the firing end of the flare. Aim about 60 to 80 degrees from the horizon. Make sure you are not aiming at rescuers. Turn your face away and pull the chain downwards. The Solace approved parachute flare is a much more powerful meteor flare and is much brighter than other smaller meteor flares. It shoots over 1,000 feet high and has a hang time of about 60 seconds. Most parachute flares come in plastic tubes with a cap in the bottom and a trigger or firing chain that drops down. Grab the tube firmly with the back of your hand facing your body. This is to resist the temptation of looking down the tube if the rocket fails to launch. Aim the flare 60 to 80 degrees to the horizon with the wind at your back or sides. With your other hand, press the trigger mechanism upwards with your thumb. Maintain your angle, holding firmly until the flare fires. Do not aim directly at rescuers. Be aware of the kickback and noise, and take firm control of the flare to prevent your aim from changing. Be sure there are no hazards that can catch fire within at least 1,000 feet. The wind can carry your parachute far from its intended course. The next type of parachute flare uses a pull chain trigger. Hold the flare as previously described, except you will pull the chain out of the bottom to fire it. The second type of flares are handheld flares. They also come in Coast Guard and Solace approved grades and both have about 3 miles of visibility. A common, non-Solace, but Coast Guard approved flare comes in a wax cardboard tube. Remove the plastic top to expose the striker surface. Now remove the red striker top, which exposes the rough surface that is rubbed on the striker on the top of the flare. Holding the flare horizontally, make sure that you firmly strike the striker with the red cap. Weakly scratching the striker can deactivate the ignition and the flare may no longer work. Point the burning flare away from your body. It is important not to look directly at the flare. The flare should be held horizontally so the hot slag will not drip down on the flare and into your person or vessel. The burn time is about 3 minutes, and it can be seen up to 3 miles away. Solace handheld flares come in a variety of styles and firing techniques, and are in a metal tube. One type of Solace handheld flare operates by firmly holding the yellow handle and pulling the top to extend the shaft of the flare. Then twist off the red cap on top of the flare and shake out the firing chain. Holding it horizontally, now pull the chain out of the top of the flare away from the handle and point the flare away from the body. A second type of Solace handheld flare has no need to extend the shaft. Just grab the red handle, flip open the black cap, and pull the washer on the string away from the handle to ignite. Know how your flares work before you need them in an emergency. As you can see, a handheld flare can look like a meteor flare, and if confused, it can have tragic consequences. Read the instructions on the flare before you are in an emergency. The orange smoke is the third type of visual distress signal. Even in light wind, the smoke tends to stay near the water surface. Therefore, they're easier to see from the air. They also give pilots a clear indication of the direction of the wind where you are located. Non-soulless smoke looks very similar to a non-soulless handheld flare, except that the flare tube is orange instead of red. Remove the black plastic top to expose the striker surface. Now remove the red cap, which exposes the rough surface. Make sure that you firmly strike the striker with the red cap. Remember that weakly scratching the striker can deactivate the ignition and the flare will not work. Again, the flare should be held horizontally so the hot slag will not drip down the flare and onto you or the raft. The burn time is about 3 minutes. Soulless smoke in life rafts come in cans. They can get very hot. Hold the can in one hand and pull on the ring. There may be a slight delay. That is normal. Throw the can into the water so that it won't burn the raft. The can will float while it produces smoke. Inspect your flares and other survival equipment monthly. Include flare location and operation as part of your safety orientation. Be prepared with survival equipment that works and that everyone on board knows how to use safely. You never know how your day is going to end.